Hello everybody, it's time for Season 12 of the Building a Nation with Treaty United recap. I realise this one is a little bit late. That's because I was ill over the weekend, so I was unable to get it out in time for the transfer window episode. But what I did is I made a separate version of the save file, which conveniently I did on Sunday as it goes, because I was doing some scouting stuff, and we're going to do it from here. But obviously, we're actually in some interesting stuff in the Europa League today, so believe me, you're going to want to get over there after this. And as it happens, we actually didn't make too many moves in the transfer window anyway, so obviously I can't show you them now because this is an older version of the save, and I want to make sure that we had access to all the stats and stuff like that. If you do enjoy these, of course, drop a like. That lets me know that I should keep doing them. Of course, head over to Twitch right now where we are streaming live with the Europa League knockouts. Big stuff is to come. And of course, if you want to watch the VODs in full, they're over on the second channel, going up slightly later on the day after now, because I realised that actually it was just a really weird time to upload videos. So, to the youth intake, and it's a bit of a meme at this point, but the memes continue. Fairly certain that this was our best player from the youth intake. This is Andy Fitzpatrick, and it's just occurred to me that this has taken up a lot more relevance, as you'll see if you head over to stream right now. Andy actually ended up becoming like a cult figure for us, which is kind of weird over the course of one stream, but more on that over in the live version. But yeah, best player from our youth intake this year. It was a dreadful youth intake, honestly. Like, it's not getting any better, sadly. And ironically, we also failed a promise. Sorry, we failed one of the board's requests to have the best youth development nation in the country, basically, despite me having no ability to control anything anymore. So they won't let us adjust our facilities. But again, that only counts for, like, they won't let us upgrade the facilities. We've got maxed out everything else. We can't change the Hoyd, particularly because we can't find a better one. There's nothing more we can really do. So, yeah, they'll just keep on complaining. But there you go. But now, some of the young players. The loan system this year has been firing. You can see that the loan farm really has gone into high gear this year, which is perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. With the likes of Palanek Mate, who's brilliant. Like, really good. Out on loan at Scamrock Rovers this year. Look at the value on the man. He's had a great year. Jake Douglas in the second tier as well. Kennedy, who, of course, you would have seen before, had a lovely year too. 5 goals and 3 assists. Petter, Lucien, Shablo, as always. 30 appearances. 11 assists and 10 goals. What a season for him. Kuzmarovic, only 22 appearances for Bose, but he still scored 12 times for them, which was great. Roy Kelleher, of course, Bastien Gauthier. You notice a lot of these names are players we wanted to get out on loan, and we did. Rastislav Sluka as well. Diego Silva out on loan. Who else is there? Chris McLean. It's a shame, yeah, won't be seeing much of him anymore, but you'll find out more about that another time. Alice Irvin's been out on loan. Basically, everyone I wanted to get out on loan, bar maybe Cenk Bayrak and Espen Falkenhorst, has gone out on loan this season, and it's been great. We're really building that up. We've been working on a new method involving the development list, and it works tremendously. So basically, to give you a rundown, add a player to a development list, set it up so that they can only be offered to other Irish sides, and it doesn't often get you bids on the players. It does occasionally, though, but then it seems to drum up way more interest in your prospects, and we've just been able to loan out everybody doing it. It's brilliant. But now, the fun part, and you're going to love this, because this is the year we have spent moon money, like absolutely moon money on players this season. Some that you won't see here because they won't have technically joined us. I won't have actually made the signings yet at this version of the save, but still, there's some quality. I'll show you one of them, though, because there's some keys. First one, I don't think I showed you actually, was Fernie Lozano. Joined us on a free transfer from Deportivo Cali. I mean, when you get this kind of quality for free, you can't really say no, can you? So we've got Fernie Lozano, what a player, for free. At the start of the year, though, we also brought in Tomislav Aleksic, a 23-year-old Serbian left-sided player. The idea behind Aleksic really was to give us something a little bit beyond what Millie was offering us in terms of in front of goal, because he had really good finishing. It's not really been the year for the young man, sadly. Only 10 starts and 6 substitute appearances, 3 goals and 4 assists. There is a reason why that happened. You'll see later on. But yeah, it just didn't really quite turn out the way I would have wanted it to, sadly. So yeah, not the best investment of our time. I think it was 1.2 million we splashed. But, you know, money, we had a decent whack of change this year, as you'll see. We also had to sign this guy, Mohamed Kletus, on a loan, a 3-month loan from Sevilla, because we got an injury to Bart Verbruggen, and we were unable to register another goalkeeper at the time because reasons. We needed another goalkeeper, basically, for European stuff. So we managed to register Mohamed Kletus, and, well, he did actually play a few games for us, to be fair to him. So, good old Mohamed. Next up was probably the biggest outlay, not even probably, the biggest outlay of the save so far. This is Thijs Fries. I realise it's probably not how his name is pronounced, but we've always been calling him Frozen Thighs up to this point. £9 million signing from FC Copenhagen. That was his release clause, if I recall. But look at the quality on this man. It was just an inevitability that we would pick him up. 9 goals and 12 assists this season in 24 matches, but he has been developing astonishingly well towards the end of the season especially. Struggled a little bit at first to get into the team, but once he did that, it was absolute no looking back from the young man, and already got 3 caps for Denmark as well. I feel like he's the type of guy, and I can let you in a little secret, we've been getting massive bids on him from PSG and Chelsea. I think we've had nearly an £11 million bid on him already, which is the most I've ever seen on one of our players. Luckily, he shows no signs of wanting to leave, so this is awesome, and I think he could really be a linchpin in our centre of midfield. He just kind of does a bit of everything because he has got good passing, good vision, good first touch, long shots as well, loves a free kick about him, got good flair, composure, his finishing isn't bad either, but the key thing as well is he's got great work rate and stamina too to really bomb up and down in the midfield. Love him. And for 9 million, he better be good. Then of course is Espen Falkenhorst, the guy I talked to you about, signed from Molde for £2.5 million. Nearly managed to get him out on loan at the start of the year, but weirdly it fell through on the final day of the window, which was weird because usually the whole point of loans is that they can be done quickly. But the strange thing was we'd already agreed to all the loans like 2 days prior to the end of the window, and then they all just fell through because there wasn't enough time on the last day. Really, really strange. So we lost out on a couple of loans from that, but nevertheless, he's done okay. 4 goals, 3 assists this season. Hasn't played too much. Mostly played as a rotation option for us in the league sometimes. But strong young man. Again, wanted by some decent sides if I recall correctly. You can't really see it properly, but nevertheless, good player. And then it's Alan. Alan is back. He has returned to the club on a permanent signing. They signed him off of us for £600,000, which was a release clause. I was livid because he was probably our best player at the time, and he was homegrown for us in Europe, and he was our only sort of Brazilian star, if you like. So we went, then we managed to get him back on loan a couple of times. Then Rangers said, no, you're not having him again on loan. And we were like, damn. So we went and looked elsewhere, essentially. And then he just didn't play for them. They just never played him. So we kicked up a fuss because they set him as an important player. And then he asked to leave. Then they tried to transfer list him for £16 million. Yeah, no one did anything with that because why on earth would you at that point? Then they lowered it to 6. Aberdeen put a bid in. He turned down their contract. Then Rangers lowered it even more. We picked up Alan for 475 grand. We actually got him for less than the release clause that they paid us for him on, which was mad. And he's now back, and I think he's on a lower wage than he was when he was here the first time around. So yeah, Alan returns to the team. He obviously only has half a season under his belt, but 1 goal, 6 assists. You love to see it. The man's a bit of a legend here, and the most important thing, and I wouldn't have done this for anybody else, but it's because he counted as a homegrown, trained at club player for the Champions League. We couldn't say no, and let's face it, he's immediately quadrupled his value upon joining us. So I think it's a good piece of business based on that alone. And now the biggest signing probably of the entire save so far, not in value so much as, well, I say in value, not as in price as so much as what kind of player we've got. And this is him. This is Zlatko Šavrić. What a striker this man is. We randomly saw him in a scout report one day. I did not find him. One of my scouts actually brought this guy to me. He was playing for Osijek, and the key thing is he had a release clause of 8.75 million. So we just immediately jumped at the opportunity to buy him for 8.75 million. And the moment he joined us, his value's actually weirdly fallen slightly, oddly. He jumped in with a value of £17 million. So we've got an absolute steal here, and that's not even about the value. Ignore the red arrows, of course, because we just played a game. Look at the quality of this player. 16 dribbling, 17 finishing, 16 first touch, good composure. He's quick, he's reasonably good in the air, he's got balance, agility, stamina, passing, penalties as well. He's pretty much all things to all men. And that really left us in a conundrum because you can't really not sign a guy like this when he becomes available, even though we had Emmett Doran. But look at these stats for this man's season so far. Half a year for us. 26 appearances, 38 goals. But also look at the league scoreline there. 12 appearances in the league, 26 goals. He scored at least 1 goal in every single league game he played for the end of the season. In fact, I believe there was only 1 league game in which he only scored 1. I think if there's any player that's going to beat Emmett Doran's record for goal scoring, it is going to be this guy. How long we hold on to this guy, I don't know, but, nevertheless, he's an insane signing, and I was so happy with him. Now some outs, and there were some. Sadly, Ancor Esteban left to join Everton, although I've noticed he's only made 1 appearance for Everton, so maybe there's a chance we can get him back at some point as well, although the wages will probably be the biggest issue there. They triggered his release clause. He was the only player left in our squad that had a release clause. I forgot about it, and Everton screwed us on it. It's a real shame, because I grew to love Esteban quite a lot. Only other big out, was Tom Sawyer, £50,000 to Coventry City. We just needed to get rid of him, basically. I tell a lie, there is one more. It's Jacob Carno, but he's Irish now, and he's got a cap, so we just changed his name. Anytime a player changes their nationality to Ireland and gets a call-up, we always change their name. Carl O'Mura also got one, so now he's Carl O'Mura, but he's sadly going to be leaving too at some point soon as well. But yeah, Jacob Carno left to join Elche for £500,000. Look at the amount of money he's earning there. Let's be honest, he's doing just fine. He wasn't going to quite cut it with us anymore, but 142 appearances, and he had over 200 in all comps. So hardly complain about that. And now onto the league. So things went about as well as you'd expect, really. Just started off with an absolutely dominant start to the league. Did get knocked out, weirdly, by Derry City in the EA Sports Cup. They had like 5 shots and scored 4 times. It's not a good day for us. We had about 35. Wasn't happy with it, but we move. Still, great runs of matches without conceding any goals. And you can see here, this was when Zlatko Savaric joined us. I really cannot stress how good this guy is, but look at the record in the league when he joined us. We only lost 1 league game after that point. It was mental. Hat-trick on his debut there. Scored 2 more there. He definitely did score in this game as well. As you can see, got 1 there. Got another 2 there. Another 2 there. Another hat-trick. Another hat-trick. Another brace there. It just continued on and on and on. Another hat-trick there. It just carries on and on and on. There you go. A game in the league that he didn't score in was the 5-3s penalty. So there actually was one. I tell a lie. Although he may not have actually played in that game, in fairness, because we were rotating the squad quite a lot. But yes, sadly, as you might notice though, we did in fact manage to not win a game. There was a game that we lost. 81st minute winner from Connor Patterson meant that we didn't get the unbeaten season that I still so desperately crave. However, from the stats, you can see that it may not have mattered all that much. By the way, Waterford beat Finn Harps 8-0 in the playoff game, so that's something. We got 101 points. 1 defeat, 2 draws and 33 wins. It's a good year for us. Plus 89 goal difference. Sligo Rovers annoyingly got 2nd place in the league, and Cork, newly promoted, managed to get 3rd. But the sad thing is, of course, that meant Dundalk missed out on European football for next year, which of course is a big problem because we want to try and maintain some consistency there. But Moses with 14 goals, 14 assists this year. Millie with 12 assists as well. And as you can see, Zlatko Savaric, 26 goals in 12 matches. He played 12 league games this year and finished 8 goals clear of anybody else. The man is unbelievable. And I cannot wait to see how well he progresses into the next season. It's going to be staggeringly good, honestly. And in terms of the second tier, as you can see, Farps were they were asking for trouble. They somehow managed to get into the playoff game, despite finishing the season with a negative goal difference and 15 points off the top, where Shelbourne were promoted. And they got exactly what they deserved when they got there. Sadly for Athlone Town, no wins. Not a single win this season. They're looking a bit bad. I would love to get them a lone player, but they just won't come in for our guys, sadly. So there you go. But as usual, we managed to win pretty much everything domestically, minus the League Cup. So only the quadruple this year did we do domestically, which is a bit of a shame. That's neither here nor there. What you're really interested in is, I'm sure, Europe. So if you recall last time, we were about to play Atalanta in our Europa League first knockout round game, having just about got through our Champions League group and got 3rd spot, and pretty happy with that. Well, I'll let this speak for itself. We got a very hard-fought 0-0 draw in the first leg, and I was ecstatic with that because we played bloody well. But that was then followed up by an insanely impressive 4-0 hammering of Atalanta in the second leg. Emmett Doran with a hat-trick and one from Tomislav Aleksic saw us progress past Atalanta to get to the second knockout run. We were ecstatic because we just knew that we needed to at least somehow get past them. And we then found ourselves matched up against a very good Marseille side, which we somehow managed to also overcome. The Donut scored, Alakou scored, and Tomislav Aleksic again. Marcus Thuram did get one back for Marseille late on in this one, which definitely made me worry. But I needn't have, as we went to France and managed to win 3-2. Alakou with a goal, Emmett Doran with a brace, Pietro Pellegrini did get one for them, and Randy and Tekka got one back. But the key thing is, we managed to win both legs against them. So not only did we progress, but we managed to get as maximum coefficient points as possible. And to get to another quarter-final of the Europa League was super happy for us. And we then managed to get a really fortunate draw of Red Bull Salzburg in the quarter-final, which was such a good draw for us, because we pulled off one of the biggest muggings I've ever seen. We had an XG of 1.31, and we managed to beat Red Bull Salzburg 7-1. 7-1! They only had a penalty to their name as far as goals go. Doran grabbed a brace. Alakou grabbed a goal. Cenk Bayrak grabbed a hat-trick off the bench, and the Donut managed to pull a goal out from there as well to give us a 7-1 advantage and a place surely in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Unfortunately, in the second leg, it wasn't quite to be. The Donut and Emmett Doran actually pushed us into a 2-goal lead, but Sivold and Joao Mario did get them back to a 2-2 draw. We still beat them 9-3 on aggregate, which was very nice for us to go through to a semi-final of the Europa League, but it would have been nice to have that extra coefficient points for the win. But hey, you know what happens. As we then travel to Valencia in the semi-finals, Yunus Musa gave them the lead. Moses equalised for us on the stroke of half-time. Diakabi put them back in front on 60 minutes. But then in the 94th minute, Moses Maeni went through and levelled things up at the Mestalla, where the final would be played, by the way. So Valencia were playing for a place to play the final at their home ground. But a 2-2 draw gave us hope for the second leg. And in that second leg, we did what was required. The Donut and Alakou, the Romanian massive, doing mad things against Valencia, played them off the park for 90 minutes to secure ourselves a spot in our first ever European final. What a run it had been through Europe. Incredible scenes. And that was against AC Milan, though, where, as you can see, it was not to be. Emmett Doran gave us the lead in the 3rd minute with an absolutely brilliant goal. And for those of you that haven't watched us do a final on stream before, I suit up and we watch the match on full highlights. It's crazy. Nevertheless, more on that a bit. But yes, we took the lead after 3 minutes. We're really good for most of the first half, I would say. But Milan just got that little bit better in the second half. Sanderberger broke through the defence and levelled things up in the 69th minute. We did have some chances. Moses had some great chances in this match. It just was not to be. And eventually, we managed to lose on penalties in the Europa League final. We were this close to a European trophy, but it was not to be. But just getting there did wonders for the coefficients. But of course, we had more Europe to do as we came straight back into things. First, a 4-0 trashing at home to Brøndby. We managed to get a bye as a result of playing in a European final, so we went straight to the second round this time. Got a good result there. Then an incredible 4-4 draw in Denmark that we absolutely did not deserve. We had like 4 shots in this game and scored all of them, so 8-4 on Ag. Then it was Legia Warszawa. These are, reasonable sides that we were getting. A 2-1 victory with Barry Cunningham and Cenk Bayrak grabbing the goals. And then in the away leg, it was a little bit more comfortable. A Zlatko Šavrić penalty, I think one of his first European goals for us, actually. And then Moses Mayeni capping it off a 4-2 victory. And then we were presented with Malmö, easy peasy, 4-1, Emmett Doran with a couple of goals, Mayeni and Šavrić, of course. Then followed up with an away victory there too, with Šavrić and Orlando Martins, Mr. Florida man, grabbing the goals after he'd put down his bath salts. So that then gave us a Champions League group. Now, really, we just wanted a group, given that we were pot 3, that we were able to get out of in 3rd place or better. That's all we wanted. And we got Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and Anderlecht. Meaning that we were kind of looking at that going, okay, fine, we'll take 3rd, have another crack at the Europa League after Christmas. Because you just never know. And bloody hell, were we close. The first match in our group, we lost 4-3 at home to Manchester United. We went 2 goals up in this one through Šavrić and Allen. United came roaring back as they do. They then took the lead in the game, but then Emmett Doran levelled things in the 85th minute to hopefully bail us out, a 3-3 draw against United. But then Jadon Sancho in the 96th minute of 94 scored for United in Fergie time to give them a victory, but we are looking so much better against these sides now. Unfortunately, that could not be said as we then travelled to Belgium and lost 2-1 to Anderlecht. Really, really bad. Jiri Verscheren and Stefan Albry gave them the lead after we'd gone in front through Moses Mayeni early, but to lose there in a match we very much deserved to win could have been catastrophic. It could have seen us lose our Champions League, just lose so much ground in Europe this year. And it didn't get much better as we were beaten 2-0 at home by Bayern Munich, Yusuf Demir and Gabriel Menrino giving them the lead and the win, which was then quickly followed away from home by a 3-1 victory, this time for Bayern Munich. We actually took the lead there as well through Zlatko Šavrić, so we were definitely showing a bit more in these matches, not getting hammered like we used to, but Bayern and Man United are just well beyond us at this point. That wasn't until this happened. We went to United and got a 0-0 draw at Old Trafford. They had an XG of nearly 3. And what I would also say is, you'll notice this, Bart Verbruggen got a 10 out of 10 rating. I've never seen a keeper get a 10 before. Verbruggen did that, though. He saved a penalty. I can't remember whose penalty it was, but he saved a penalty and saved another 12 shots during the match. What a performance from Bart Verbruggen. And that point would prove to be crucial, because during that game, Anderlecht bailed out a late equaliser against Bayern Munich, meaning that we then knew that we needed to get a point against United, because otherwise we'd be screwed. Luckily, in our final game at home, this time against Anderlecht, we got the result we deserved. Šavrić smashed a hat-trick past them. Martins grabbed one, as did Emmett Doran, who has been playing off the left a lot for the end of the season to allow room for Šavrić in the side. So we managed to sneak through by virtue of goal difference over Anderlecht in the end, which was very, very good indeed. But bloody hell, if we hadn't got that draw against United, it wouldn't have mattered. We'd have been out. So we did scrape through to the next round of the Europa League, where we will, well, at this point anyway, would have been playing Leicester City. So I'm not going to spoil what happened in that. You'll have to come over and stream and ask me what happened in that one, I suppose, because it's been a very interesting time in Europe, you could say the least. Now, budgets-wise, we weren't working with a great deal at this point, because we had a couple of mandatory fees that we needed to pay, like the donut, and I'd invested quite a lot of cash. And I'll just show you one other player that we've already sort of signed up at this point. He does join us, don't worry. Anders Hansen for 2.9 million. Ignore this, he's actually 5-star potential. I don't know why it says that. When he joined us, it does upgrade. Point is, good piece of business for us, but really we were left with very little cash after that. And I was trying out a new scouting system idea on stream on Tuesday. So we're sort of letting that one simmer and seeing how it does before we potentially start to invest a bit more money again, because we were just starting to go a bit too close to the edge with our finances, particularly with the board announcing they were going to build a new stadium, 8,500 seater stadium. So the Dara Galvin Memorial Ground is being built, sort of. We don't know. We're expecting hearing more about that one later. But as for the main men, as you can see, Sinisa Stojanovic still smashing it. 13 assists this year. What a performance from him. Orlando Martins, or Florida man, 4 goals, just solid as a rock defender. Needs a new contract. I think I gave him one. Sinisa Milosevic, he's still coming along nicely. 11 heading now, so it's definitely improving, which is nice to see. He can also play midfield for us. Only the 1 goal this year, but still, he's been solid. Got a cap for Serbia too. Barry Cunningham still knocking about. 7 games for Ireland now. Still, 29 appearances this year, mostly as a backup this season, obviously because of Carpenu, but still a good player. Giovanni Tortosa is just getting better and better and better. 2 goals this year over sort of the half season that he played, but he's still been fantastic. Moses Mayeni, probably one of the standouts, honestly. 34 appearances, 19 goals and 18 assists this season. What a year for Moses Mayeni. Alaku, of course, with just the 1 goal and 6 assists, but he's still a quality player. Emmett Doran still got 28 this year, but he has, obviously, you can see, been farmed out wide a little bit more, and that's where we're going to have to play him from now, because we can't justify having him in the team over Shavridge. We just can't. But I do want to have him in the team because he does offer us a lot of that left-hand side and has scored a decent amount of goals there. Like, obviously not as many as when he was at striker, but still, 11 in 21 from the left wing is bloody good, and 5 assists to go with it. Millie still had a decent year. 18 goals and 16 assists. Still cracking on in there, to be fair to him. Of course, the Donut, who will be joining us permanently, 5 goals, 4 assists. And Cenk Bayrak as well. 17 goals this season, 9 assists. Still can't seem to grab a loan move for anybody to come and get him, but he's still useful for us. Carpenu, of course, just the 1 goal and 2 assists this season. He's had a few injuries, but 14 caps for Romania already. He's a bloody excellent player. Howcroft is still knocking about. His contract's up at the end of the season next year as well, though. But, still 4 goals and 11 assists. He's still been a great asset to this club for the amount of time he's been here, which is nearly 8 years. So all in all, you can see, a 38 scorer and a 37 scorer, and then a 21 scorer in there as well. Overall, when you count some of the European stuff into account, it's just been a great year for us. But you can see the differences. Savic has done it in a lot less games, and he's had way more XG per match as well, just by creating chances for himself. He just scores way more than Emmett does, and I think he's the kind of player that I feel like next year, I want to see him get like 70 goals for us. And I think it's doable, honestly. I want to be coming back at the end of next season in season 13 squad recap to say he's got like 70 odd goals. Honestly, I think it's doable for him if he just starts well and keeps on cracking, or at least 50 odd. But of course, it is now time for coefficients. And this is an interesting one, as you could probably guess. So as you can imagine, that excellent run in Europe gave us 10 coefficient points for the season. Well, I mean, it was a huge step in the right direction for us. Now, of course, this year, we were getting rid of a bad year too, but as you can see, with us going into those European matches against Leicester City, we were only just overperforming the one we were losing, and it was an underperformance against virtually every other year around it by a considerable amount, and this was a big chance for us, because as things stood at this point, we were going to leap above Norway and the Czech Republic. Norway are having a terrible year and losing a really good one. Czech Republic, kind of similar in that respect, but due to fortunes going for the Ukrainians and the Greeks, we were starting to lose ground. And we knew that we would finish in 16th spot this season, which was not good enough to get anything new. 15th is where we needed to be. Now, of course, some stuff has happened in Europe since then that has changed the game a little bit. But again, more on that later. It's just, it's looking good. 15th place, though, is the key for us. If we can get 15th place, that gets us extra European spot and an extra Champions League spot, more importantly. It allows one of these guys from this side to go into the Europa League, one of the other guys to drop into the Champions League, which means more potential opportunities for money and also just dropping down. They'd only have to win 1 tile on the way to get group stages every year, rather than like 3 or 4. There's a big chance for us to get more money to our other sides, and that really is supremely important. And of course, it will allow us to start an extra round later, like we did this year as it goes. I mean, what we'd really like is 14th, so we can start an even further round later, but you don't always get what you want in those scenarios. And you can see how easily, with a couple of good seasons, we could get all the way up to like a 12th place very soon, I suspect, particularly with Switzerland and Russia losing some good years. I think within about 2 or 3 seasons, we could find ourselves in 11th or 12th and really battling then to try and get up to 9th would be an excellent one as well, because then the league path would get to start even higher. I mean, literally, league path, 3rd qualifying round, that guarantees Europa League for someone, which is important as hell because of the money they would just get given to them, which would be really, really key to keep the other Irish sides afloat. So it's all very exciting. Just occurred to me, I forgot to show you how they actually got on in Europe themselves. So you can see Dundalk beat Mezhika Zvezda very comfortably. St. Pat sadly were knocked out by Lugano, but that's not really surprising. But in other good news, Bohemian did beat Lecce. So we got 2 sides through to the 3rd round. And we're in that 3rd round. Sadly, Dundalk were knocked out by Sion, but did at least get a draw in one of the matches. And Bohemian were able to beat Wisła Krakow. So good result gets Bohemian into the final qualifying round, where unfortunately they were, I say narrowly beaten. They managed to get themselves a good result against RZ, but they weren't quite good enough. 5-3 on aggregate losing to RZ, but that's still massively improved over some of the other draws we've seen. So more points for us overall, but we need to do our job after Christmas, basically. And as for Ireland on the whole, Fran Escriba is now the new manager. We did get offered the job. We turned it down, of course, because that's not the point of this save, and it's tedious. But nevertheless, he's the new manager. So there you go. 21st in the national rankings right now. I don't know how they're getting on schedule-wise. What are we in right now? So in their European group, they did get through to the 2nd round, but were knocked out by Turkey Turkey by a single goal to nil. And they're now in they're doing Nations League, basically, Group B. So how are they getting on? Yeah, comfortable, really. Not looking like they're getting relegated, although pretty close, actually. Had Croatia in their group, though, so it was always going to be a toughie. But still, that's how they're currently sitting for Ireland as well. Finances, of course, back up to 21 million now, of course, because we got into the Champions League. But with money coming out in January, that budget drops bloody quickly. So we do need to keep an eye on our budgets for a couple of seasons just to keep things ticking over while we try to get some more money invested in the rest of the league, as things like TV revenue and stuff like that is slowly but surely going up, along with prize money to go with it. So that's the situation. Right now, we're playing some Europa League knockout stuff. The fact that I've said that a few times probably suggests that you might have realised that we actually did get past Leicester City. There's a bit more to it than that, though. So, yeah, there's a potential today that we could go on another ridiculous run in the Europa League and maybe even get to another final. So you're going to want to step and check that one out as well. So if you enjoy these, drop a like. That would be lovely. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. You know that. I'm streaming right now. That's just how it goes. And I will see you for the end of Season 13. Hopefully we've got some more positive things to report on the European front. And hopefully I'll be celebrating the fact that we've finally got an extra place in Europe. I'll see you guys soon. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.